Live from Kakariko Village. Broadcast throughout the Retroverse, transmitted to the real world via a maze of wires connecting a Super Nintendo to a Wii, to a Wi-Fi network, and finally to the internet. The Techno Funk Boy presents the Retro Zoo Super Show. Now here are your hosts, Kai and Steven.
Well, greetings everybody. This is the Retro Zoo Super Show. I am your host, Kai. I am here as always with Steven. Mr. Lanier, how are you doing today?
Doing wonderful. Doing great. I'm glad to be here. Happy day.
Very good. That was convincing. Our producer is Drum. Drum, how's it going?
I am functioning normally.
It's going to be a very scary day when he says something different than that.
Yes. We probably should start storing food for that day.
Storing food.
And water.
All right. Well, we've got a fun show ahead of you. The first thing is, it is October. If you are downloading these, as they're being released. If you are not, then it might be another month. That's not October. That's kind of the confusing things about podcasting. Since this is a morning show and live, I'm used to saying, hey, this is live and good morning.
But it might not be live for somebody that's downloading it later.
Right.
Well, that's difficult. But it still can, hopefully the majority of the listeners are downloading this as soon as Thursday rolls around, or whatever day it is for them that this is released.
How do you not know what day it's released?
I'm just saying it might not be Thursday our time, and for someone in Japan it might be Tuesday or
I don't think that's how that works.
Or Wednesday. Right? No. If you download...
Well, it can't be Thursday here and Tuesday in Japan.
Wait, hold on. Thursday, it could either be Wednesday or Friday. Whatever way the sun rotates.
I think it might be Friday.
So yeah, so that's what I was saying. Is like the day that the show is released is as close to live as you're going to get it.
Right, unless you are actually in the Retroverse.
Right, in which case you have the benefit of hearing this on the air, and you can call in. I mean, you can call from the real world too, but
yeah, most of the Retroverse doesn't actually have phones. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, they have to knock on our door.
Right.
Actually, a lot more calm here.
There is someone at the door.
Really?
Sorry, that was the water cooler.
I was about to put the tea on and get the cookies ready.
You have to tell you, it's been a lot more fun since you showed me that Drum has a special recipe for tea.
It is a good recipe. Taking care of now, as a matter of fact.
Oh, goodness.
Thank you, Drum. This was actually exceptional.
Yes, thank you.
It's like my grandfather used to make.
Very good. So, just a kind of quick update on what I have been up to lately. Not much.
Wait, can I give an update too on what I've been doing lately?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's got to be more exciting than that. So go for it.
Okay.
supposed to be filling this opening time, kind of getting the introductions down.
Right, getting people fired up and excited.
Connected to us as people by telling what's going on in our lives, but it's been kind of dull.
Well, I wanted to say that I haven't been doing a whole lot either. So but that's exciting because if you are battle hardened and have been out there and led a difficult life, then not doing a whole lot is actually pretty nice. So
I've been a musician all my life, so not quite in that category.
What about during? Okay,
but like during the Gannon incident?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was cowering in a basement.
I thought you were playing the marching drums.
No.
Oh no, you were in the basement.
I was yeah.
Well, at least you were safe.
Under a table.
Yeah, you were safe.
Pretty much, yeah. It was good. All right, so before we begin the topic today, I wanted to talk a little bit about misconceptions about people. And you perhaps have had misconceptions about people when playing games, because in the games, we are looking at a certain point in time, and some people in this point in time are being heroic, and some people in that point in time are not being heroic and are perhaps cowering under a table in the basement.
Mm-hmm. Where it's safe.
But we're safe, right? Like, maybe they're not cowards. Maybe they're just not stupid.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to die. Does that make them scared?
Maybe
yeah. Does it make them cowards? Maybe.
But do they want to perpetuate their species? Most definitely.
Yeah, maybe those people are thinking, if Gannon wipes out everyone, then who's going to be left to have little elf children and pass our culture down through generations? So maybe those people are really selfless. But Stephen, you were telling me before the show today about misconceptions about people we pass in everyday life, and it reminded me of kind of the way we perceive people in gaming. So do you want to repeat everything you told me so that I can go take a restroom break?
Yeah. No, I'll go ahead and share. Misconceptions are they happen a lot, and I think people say first impressions are everything, and I think there's some truth to that as well. But with every maxim or pocket fortune cookie saying, there's an alternative truth to that as well. There's an exception, and when you see somebody for the first time, or when you pass somebody that you think is a certain way, oftentimes you quickly form a judgment in your mind about it. And so I guess I was relating to Kai here.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, well,
wait. I'm sorry.
No, I was getting kind of philosophical. It might have been too deep for this show. So
I interrupted, didn't I?
No, it was quite all right.
You want to? Go ahead.
Do you feel better? Okay. Oh, okay. No, I was talking about this time I passed this guy, and I had just finished a lovely meal with some good friends, and there was a man behind a shop, and this guy looked like he was doing some form of Tai Chi, but on a boat in the middle of the ocean. But he wasn't on a boat in the middle of the ocean. He was just
a little swaying back and forth.
He was swaying back and forth. He seemed wasted. He seemed not in his right state of mind, and I felt sorry for him because here it is. It's just after lunch. This guy seems to have already found the bottom of a bottle, and I felt bad for the guy. And so some time went by, and I ended up recently. Well, I saw him again, and But this time, I saw him out front of his business, and there was something about the way he was walking, about his gait, that it wasn't of alcohol, as I first perceived. There was something else going on. He was walking, he was helping somebody with some merchandise into their car, and his gait was just off. The way he walked was just different. And I realized all of a sudden, for the past few months, I've seen this, that I saw this guy, and I thought about him several times. This guy, I thought he was totally drunk, but it turns out he just had some kind of physical disability. His something was wrong with his leg, or maybe his equilibrium. Anyway, and the whole point is, I spent a lot of time thinking this guy was, feeling sorry for somebody who actually probably was a winner at life way more than I am. I mean, if somebody has this struggle, they're able to surmount it. They're able to go to work, but it was that perception of, hey, this guy, he's walking weird. He's acting differently, and he seems like he might be drunk, versus, hey, the second time I saw him, this guy is actually, he's helping somebody with a load of, merchandise, but he's not drunk. This is just how this guy walks. And so it was a little reminder to myself, and just be careful when you cast judgment on somebody, and when you see somebody. And I feel like if you try to put yourself in somebody's shoes, that's probably your best bet.
Yeah, that's a really good reminder, because there's a certain group of people that I think fall victim to this misconceptions quite a bit, and they are, kind of when they have the limelight, it always seems like it's under the worst of circumstances, so they don't come across in the best possible light. They might be a little panicky, they might be a little excitable, and I am, of course, speaking of the toads from the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they, if you poke them, they make funny sounds, and if you, whenever they're captured, they get very panicky and are always asking for help. But you don't see them with their family working at the mill. Do you know how hard it is to work at the mill with the mushroom head?
Well, I mean, and I've actually read in a paper once that their heads get stuck in the milling equipment sometimes. I mean, it'll shut the mill down for days because, their heads are so big.
Right. And when that happens, you can hear their cry from across the town, and it's very, very sad.
Yeah, that cry, man, it just gets the feels, man.
Absolutely, yeah. It's.
We need to change the subject. I'm about to start crying on air.
Right. Yeah, this is not supposed to be this serious of a show.
Yeah, can we lighten it up here, man?
Yeah,
what happened?
Okay, let's get into the topic today, because this is something I like dwelling on because I'm weird. But I want to talk about games that we perhaps know are not good games.
Bad games?
They're bad. But for some reason we like them anyway. And I'm not talking about games that got mixed reviews and we just we're just convinced they're actually good. I'm talking about games that you're playing it and it's like, this game is not good, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And so I'll start us off with an example, and the game that I'm going to refer to is Fester's Quest on NES.
Is this Fester from Adam's Family?
From Adam's Family, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
Fester. Fester.
Yeah, so he's like moonbathing, because it's the Adam's Family and they don't sunbathe, they moonbathe. Yeah. And aliens come take over the city. And so he gets his I guess it was a magic wand, and goes to conquer the aliens. And so there's a lot of stuff I like about this game. The map in the game, you're definitely set into levels, And so, you get around to a boss and then you go to a different area of the map, but there's two maps. There's the overworld, which is the town, and there's the underworld, that's the sewer. And these maps kind of interconnect. And so, that you can see the entire world, on a single map. And all the drains lined up where you go underground and all that stuff. And so it was kind of, they were playing with some neat ideas here, that you are wandering through a town that seems to be basically working. It all fits together. I like the way they do items in the game. It has definitely a Addams Family feel to it. Like if you're underground and you need a light, you get a light bulb and of course put it in your mouth because it's Uncle Fester.
That's what he does. It's his
right.
trick.
And so like you can pull you have like a noose, and if you pull it, then it will ring for what's his name, Lurch, who will come and help you for a minute. And and so it has a definite. The tie-in to the Addams Family is very tenuous, but there are some elements to it that are very cool. But it's a terrible game. It's horrible. It's just and the main problem with it is that that you have this weapon, and it's a wand, so it's not a gun. It doesn't necessarily shoot straight. It'll shoot in little waves or circles or stuff like that. But when it hits a wall, it's done. Right?
It doesn't go through?
It doesn't go through walls. The problem is that the corridors, like when you're going in between houses, or if you're in the sewer, the walls are so close together, there's no room for this kind of curly-cued shot to go. And so you just fire it, and it hits a wall a half inch away and dies. And so these enemies are coming at you, and there's not really any sort of effective way of fighting against them. And so, of course, you then back up a step so that you can, get your bearings and find a place that you can actually fight them. But the enemies will respawn the second their spawn point leaves the screen. So you can take one step back and one step forward, and the enemy will respawn. And so there's certain aspects of the games that are just tremendously unfair.
Yeah.
And it makes it, and it absolutely ruins the game. It just destroys it. But I still find myself humming the song. And,
are you still playing it?
Currently, no.
Okay.
I'm constantly tempted to go back to it though.
So what was it, if it was so difficult, what made you want to play it? Was it because it was so difficult, or was it because it was, I
think it's because I just like the ideas behind it.
You like Uncle Fester.
No, not that I do like Uncle Fester.
He is pretty amazing.
Yeah. And, but just the ideas that they were employing, like how the levels are interconnected on a single map. The different uses of items, the way the town layout, works in the game. Just the kind of the silly idea of Uncle Fester going around killing aliens is entertaining to me. And so it's one of those games that I wanted to be more, but they had good ideas and they just butchered them.
Yeah. So do you remember being frustrated a lot when you played?
Oh, yeah, it was horrible. In fact, it was the first time I ordered a back issue of Nintendo Power.
To figure out how to beat it?
No, well, a lot of it was just for mainly the map. But also, just hints here and there. Like, I remember a friend had that issue of Nintendo Power, and I actually borrowed it and took and photocopied the maps. But I was getting into the game and I'm like, I really need the color maps on this. And so I ordered ordered a back issue of Nintendo Power, mainly for the maps. And so that's actually technically the oldest issue of Nintendo Power I owned because it was from prior to when I was actually subscribed to it.
Nintendo Power. Was it kind of like the Bible for Nintendo?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, and you didn't really get into consoles, so you had to get Nintendo Power if you were going to play Nintendo games. Cause there was just stuff that was like not at all intuitive about games. Like the famous one is, and I think it was Castlevania 2. If I'm wrong, people are going to write me. But like there's this one point where you have to go up against the wall and kneel for like several seconds until a whirlwind takes you to the next part of the stage. There's no way for you to know that from the clues inside the game itself.
There's no indicator?
No. You had to get the guide. That was Nintendo Power. You know, they weren't really doing, strategy guides that much in America at this point. And Nintendo Power was cheap enough that, parents really didn't mind getting it. If they knew that it was just a giant advertisement for Nintendo games, they probably would not have liked it that much. But it was a fantastic magazine and you had to have it in order to figure certain things out. Now Investor's Quest didn't have anything quite like that. But the maps were a huge help. And so, yeah, one more case of Nintendo Power really coming through.
Yeah, it's weird for me since I know we're separated by, half a generation or whatever of gaming.
Half a generation?
A quarter of a generation.
What? How long is a generation of gaming?
I don't really know how long a generation is, period. So therefore, I wouldn't know how long a generation of gaming is, but I'm thinking a generation is probably 20 years. So half a generation is 10 years. I think you're not 10 years older than me, but that's why I said maybe a third or quarter generation. But anyway, splitting hairs here.
So I'm somewhere between 5 and like 7 years
older than me.
Older than you.
But I actually don't know how old you are because you've told me a couple times or maybe once, and I promptly forget because I really don't care.
There's a lot of times you don't listen to me.
Well, when you're little kids, age is like really important, you know. Oh, I'm 11. I'm 12 and a half. It's like, oh man, crap. This guy's like a year and a half older than me. He must know a lot more. And now it's like, I mean, unless somebody is like a generation older than you, you're not going to really know or care.
After you say crap, it's too late to go back and put in.
Can we say that word? Do we have a list of words we can say? Because I actually don't like that word. And I wouldn't want one of my children.
You're the one that brought it up.
Well, I said
you
it.
Don't have kids.
I don't have kids, but if I did have kids, I would punish them for saying that. And it would be a soft punishment, but it would be like, no console gaming, which would be very soft.
Could they
you
say
can PC game, but you can't console game today. No,
that would be torture for me.
Well, you're not one of my children. Good thing you're like a third generation older than me. So.
Right.
But regardless, okay, what I was trying to say was that for me, it was PC Gamer. I remember used to go to the bookstore, Books A Million, and they had, PC Gamer. That's what I think I might have gotten a subscription as a Christmas present for my older brother one year. And it was like a great year because I had it every month. But for the most part, I think prior to and after that subscription ended, I would just go to Books A Million every couple months. And that's how I shop for video games. That's how I shop for the games I would play. So I guess it was similar, basically a big advertisement, but I would just look at see what games had come out and basically based on what games had come out, that's how I would purchase games. But but they also had strategies in them, but I never remember like really needing. Of course at the time I thought I needed it. It's like,
No. No, Nintendo Power was something very different than pretty much any other gaming magazine, because this thing was published by Nintendo directly.
So it was basically prophetic.
But it was prophetic?
Well, it was like coming from the source of the creator.
Okay. That was a really roundabout way of getting there, but yes. But yes, but like this whole thing is like, it was super cheap, and I have this number in my head. It might be wrong. I think it was like, to subscribe, it was like $15 for a year.
Wow.
Okay. So, I mean, you know, it was basically $1 an issue. And there weren't many ads in it because the entire thing was an advertisement. The whole thing, I mean, the point of it was Nintendo saying you need to buy more games. These are cool. But they really did just an amazing job of it. And it was very colorful. It was directed toward, its audience very well. And they had just very in-depth strategies, but they also had, like, every issue, a whole section of questions from readers. And they would be stuff like, hey, how do I get past this wall in Simon's Quest? Well, you kneel in front of it for like 45 seconds and a whirlwind comes and takes you away. And also just, just general tips that you need to know. And so this whole thing, it was marketing genius that the games were set up as such that you needed Nintendo Power. Nintendo Power was cheap enough that your parents didn't mind you getting it. And then Nintendo Power for the next 12 months would just inundate you with advertisements for games and make you want to buy every single one of them because they all have great reviews, because it's being published by Nintendo.
The game developers are the ones reviewing the games.
Right, yeah. And it's been noted before, that like, Nintendo first party games, like, never got a bad score in that magazine. Some third party games would get, fair to mediocre scores. But, if it was a Nintendo first party, it's the most genius game ever. Which of course it is. It's, Nintendo is totally backing this magazine, and they would send you all sorts of free stuff to make you, to incentivize you to stay.
Would they give you, like, I guess they couldn't because of the cartridge issue.
No. Like, that's why so many people in America had Dragon Warrior, because Nintendo Power gave it to everyone.
Oh, so it was free.
Yeah. And they would, if you signed up, then like a couple of offers I got where that you got, these, like bound, more book length strategy guides of like, of like Mario 3, of like, Final Fantasy. I think one of the Ninja Gaiden games had one of these kind of full length strategy guides. And so they were bombarding you with like extras and free stuff, but you get Final Fantasy, the strategy guide, and what do you want? Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
I did not have the game, but I was picking through there, and it's like, this is amazing. I want this game so much.
You were a pro before you had the game.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I know where this ogre hallway is, and what levels and what magic you want and all this stuff. I'd never actually seen a gameplay of this thing.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty clever way to get people.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's somewhere I do not think that I've disposed of these things. So it's somewhere, I believe I have several years worth of Nintendo Powers, but I haven't been able to find them, so it legitimately may be that I got rid of them.
Yeah, that sounds like something you in a move you look at and you say, well, do I really need these? Do I play Nintendo? And you decide or realize that you don't, and so but then you tell yourself in the back of your mind, I could use this as wallpaper. I could use every page as a wallpaper for a room. That'd be a really cool room. I'm going to go ahead and hang on to this 75 pounds worth of material. Right. I recently...
I've had that conversation in my head about wallpaper many times.
Really? So, okay, good. Because it's not just me. Because
Yeah.
I recently had that conversation about some old encyclopedias that I got rid of.
Oh.
I was like, why did I do that? I could have
I probably
wallpapered
would.
it.
What I wanted to do was I had like the Far Side, day by day calendars.
Far Side.
And I wanted to use Far Side, comics to wallpaper. I thought that would have been excellent.
Wallpaper is like the worst idea. But if it had if it was comics, like why not just paint a wall? Why would you paper a wall with like a design that is stupid? Like you should have done that. And now that you've said that, in my next renovation, my entire house is going to be covered in comics or Nintendo Power. Like I'm going to,
if you find my Nintendo Powers, please give them to me.
And so you can wallpaper your own room. Well, maybe you'll have enough to wallpaper a couple rooms, and because I want to have a Nintendo Power wallpapered room. That'd be a good gaming room.
Oh goodness! All right, so we are barely touching on our topic, but we are up on our break. So we will be right back. Hey Drum, did you know that the Techno Funk Boy isn't just a group of podcast hosts that live inside a Super Nintendo?
Really?
That's right, we're also a band.
Tell me more.
We're a retro gaming inspired band that plays covers of classic video game themes, original game music, and other music in the style of classic games.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and you can find our first full-length album on iTunes, Amazon, and CD Baby. It's called The Final Fantasy Mixes, and it's an EDM tribute to some of Uematsu's best musical themes. Check the episode notes for links or go to Techno Funk Boy to learn more.
Techno Funk Boy sounds like the greatest band that has ever existed.
I programmed him to say that.
He comes in the night, seemingly out of nowhere, a blur of yellow whose only mission is justice. His name is already legend, but the reality doesn't quite line up with the myth, and we're about to find out exactly how wrong we've been about him. He is the Yellow Canary. The Yellow Canary is a comedic thriller by Paul Lytle about a would-be superhero who may just be crazy enough to make a difference. The Yellow Canary by Paul Lytle, available from Amazon in print and on Kindle. Check for the link in the show notes.
We're back.
All right, welcome back. So during the break, we were playing a little bit from Fester's Quest soundtrack.
Uncle Fester's Quest soundtrack.
Yeah.
Sorry. So sorry.
There has been a little bit of confusion on the name of that game. I'm pretty sure that the actual cartridge says Fester's Quest.
Okay. But we all know when they say Fester, they mean Uncle Fester. So
yes, that would be Uncle Fester.
It's implied.
Right. And not, old Fester McGee from, apartment 28 who likes cats.
Loves cats.
So that's actually another thing I really like about the game is the soundtrack. I spent a lot of hours listening to that particular song, and it's kind of a jam.
Yeah, it's
got a nice driving beat to it.
It doesn't really sound like something you would hear from the Addams Family, though.
Well, yeah, and that's like I said, the Addams Family themselves is very incidental to the plot. I
wonder why they actually even chose the Addams Family as like a platform, or as like a story. I mean, why couldn't it have been Aunt Mester's Quest or something like that? And it had nothing to do with the Addams Family.
It's all marketing, you get a tie into something, and the fans of that thing, whatever it is, are probably going to buy the game.
But they might have been disappointed. Like if there was true.
Oh, they
Addams
always
Family.
are.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, they're always disappointed.
They still do it.
They still, yeah, of course.
Every time.
It's like, okay, so, and this is a truly bad game that I did not at all like, but I got a Deep Space Nine game for SNES, and it was specifically because it was Deep Space Nine, and I am a fanatical Deep Space Nine fan. The game's horrible, but, that I was the target market, and I fell for it, and I was disappointed, and everybody always is, but they keep going back.
So if they had released a Deep Space Nine 2 game, would you have bought it?
I'd probably not at that point.
Okay. But if it had been like a Star Trek Next Generation or Star Trek TOS game, you would have bought it. Unless you weren't fans of it.
After Deep Space Nine, I want to believe that I would have been a little bit more careful with my money.
And because
I don't know that that's true, but I would like to believe that.
Yeah.
So talk to me. What's a game that you enjoyed, even though you recognize it to be a bad game?
That's kind of a tough one, man, because I didn't spend my formative years as a console gamer. I was a PC gamer, so I couldn't rent games, and I had to purchase them, and I didn't have a steady income as a youngster, so I wanted to make sure my purchases were, I didn't lose money. I didn't buy something terrible. I remember looking into a lot of my games before I bought them. But there was a game I think that I really enjoyed, but I don't know how much of a great game it was. It was called Ground Control, and I think it was a strategy game because that was, I played either strategy or first-person shooters. It was a game I really liked, but I think I liked it for the wrong reasons. I never was good at the game, but I remember one of the. So the game itself, the premise of the game is it's in the future. There's two different warring factions. There's this corporate faction,
Ground
and then
there's to Major Tom.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There was a corporate faction that would not have been David Bowie would not have been a part of that one, and then there was a religious faction, and both of them had comparable equipment and firepower, and so basically
hold on,
red team versus blue team kind of thing. I think actually One was red and one was tan. But
Ground control.
I don't really remember the premise of the game that much, except for that the gameplay was. It was a game where you could zoom in you could zoom right up to a unit, like your infantry unit, and you could see the shells coming out of his gun, or you could zoom out and see him as a speck on the screen. But because it was this kind of grandiose scaled strategy game, one of the units was this. You could have these bombers, and the bombs looked so cool, and I just remember playing the game pretty much exclusively to have my bombers come in and drop these bombs, which left these awesome shockwaves and did tons of damage, and also like they had these kind of siege kind of ground tank things that would shoot these siege rounds, and like I remember playing the game just purely for the perspective of being able to get way down on the ground, like where the units would be, going over to the enemy side and seeing like my artillery rounds come in the sky, because they had like a little trail of smoke, and it would come down and like crash down and blow the smithereens, the enemy units. I love the visual aspects of that game. I don't really remember being very good at it.
Well, but, okay, so this sounds actually pretty good. What was bad about this game?
Actually, I loved the game and played it, but I think what was bad was maybe not the game itself, although I never really remember hearing anything. I don't think that was one of the games that I...
Are you confused about today's topic?
Oh, what do you mean?
We're supposed to be talking about bad games. This sounds like a great game.
Well, I don't remember... this was not one of the games I selected because of its good rating. This was, I think, prior to me learning how to do that. So...
Ground control is not a bad game.
No, it is a bad game because I never heard about it. I just had some kind of intuition
That's
about
not
it.
Okay. It doesn't become a bad game because you didn't see it in a magazine.
Well, I mean, okay, so maybe I never heard about it. Nobody ever talked about it. There was this game I played. I tried to play it years later. Couldn't find it, couldn't download it for some reason, and just chalked it up to the fact that it got lost in the shuffle of time because it wasn't a good game.
Drum, what does Metacritic say?
Metacritic rates it at 86.
Wow, that's like a B+.
Computer Games Magazine nominated it for 2000 Real-Time Strategy Game of the Year.
Okay, this is definitely not a bad game.
Maybe I have impeccable taste.
Oh, gosh.
Maybe I'm actually...
Okay, so this... all right, so what happened? You just think that all the games you like are good.
No, I said I thought this was probably a bad game because I never heard about it. I just had some kind of intuition.
All right, so basically what you're telling me is that you like good games, except possibly this one. Oh, wait, it's a good game. I was mistaken. All the games I like are good.
Maybe I misconstrued what you were saying, that I played the game poorly and therefore thought it was a poor game.
You played Tetris poorly, too.
Yeah, but I knew everybody talked about Tetris. My mother played it,
Yes, we've established that your mom is better at Tetris than you.
So I just lump things into categories based on whether or not I played it or not. I don't know. I mean... I thought
Do you remember playing? Do you remember like getting a game that you just, this is just a bad game?
No. If I played a bad game,
that's great for you.
If I played a bad game, I wouldn't play a bad game. I was like, this is a game is supposed to be fun. If it's bad,
none
I'm
of
not
us
having
want
fun.
to play a bad game.
But if it's a bad game, then it's not fun, and I'm not going to play. I'm not going to spend my free time on something that isn't fun. So I might have played a bad game.
That's not like intentional. We're not like going to the store and going, let me get this piece of crap. I mean crud. And
Thank you.
and buy it for $50. We're trying to get good games, but sometimes we're just wrong, and it's not good.
It might be, Kai, that I have these. Okay, I haven't told you about this before, but I have these memory bots. Okay, they're little microorganisms that live in my brain that if something bad happens in gaming, my little microbots take that memory and they discard of it as fast as possible. And so actually have no recollection of anything bad in terms of gaming because it wastes the memory, the space on my mental hard drive.
You have nanobots in your brain?
I know. It's kind of cool.
Drum.
It's kind of cool. You want them, but...
Drum, is this true?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, Drum, when's the last time you ran the CT scan on me?
Those records have been deleted from my memory.
By the memory bots, thank you.
Wait, you put the memory bots in Drum?
Well,
Can you quit messing with Drum?
I thought Drum could benefit from some memory bots.
Okay, you weren't here for this, but it took a very long time to program him away from being an evil robot.
I know, but he's got to, in the end, he has to choose. Drum will have to choose. And we haven't gotten there yet. We haven't gotten to the point where Drum has to make that decision. I mean, I feel like he's still a fledgling robot. You've wiped the slate clean. He's now a tabula rasa robot. But he, at one point in time, he may decide to become evil again. And then we'll have to find another producer or fight in some apocalyptic battle against him.
How about we program him not to be not evil?
To be naughty?
Not evil.
Not evil? Or naughty? I'm confused here, Kai. This conversation has actually gone beyond my mental capacity.
Okay. Even with the nanobots, that's great.
Well, the nanobots.
All right, if we do have a phone call. Drum, who is it on line 1?
It is a caller.
Did you delete this? You
didn't like the subroutines that identified callers because he didn't get it perfect last time. So I thought, I want you to like Drum. So I went ahead and put him back to that factory setting.
You want me to like Drum, but you're okay with him being an evil robot?
Not the evil part. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I'd prefer not to get there.
Well, then let's be kind to him.
Okay. Caller, thank you for calling. Good. That sounded redundant. Welcome to the show. Who am I talking to?
Yeah. Hey, this is Jake.
Wait.
Oh, hey, Jake.
Wait. Jake?
Yeah, Jake has called before.
Jake, the Diablo 1 no-cal level Jake?
No, man. That was Diablo 2.
No, you said it was Diablo 1.
Yeah, I said it was Diablo 2. You can go back and listen. I said it was Diablo, and then I said it was Diablo 2.
My nanobots didn't delete that memory, and it's pretty much you said Diablo 1. But let's go on.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I wanted to join your conversation about games I like but are objectively bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all right, so you have a game that you enjoy but is not a good game.
Right. That's Super Mario Brothers 3.
The best game ever created for NES?
Okay. Jake, do you mean something else?
No, that game's terrible, but I just can't stop playing it.
What? Jake, that's one of the, it's widely regarded as one of the greatest games ever created.
Super Mario Brothers 3 is acclaimed by critics as one of the greatest video games of all time.
Are you reading Wikipedia?
You know what? Because you said that, I had to look it up real quick because I'm not a console player. And yes, I was reading Wikipedia.
Dude, you should do your research before the show.
So now you're offending gamers and your hosts. Good job, Jake.
What? Hello? Did you hang up on me?
Not yet, but we're close.
Okay, yeah, I was actually kind of surprised we didn't hang up on that one.
We might get there, so hold on to your pants.
Yeah, Steven was drinking some tea, and so couldn't reach the button.
Okay, so I don't understand. So this is like people like this game? It's so weird.
What's weird about it?
Well, you're stomping on turtles and eating mushrooms, and they're making you grow. That's not real life. If I stomped a turtle in real life, people would put me on the news. And if I eat mushrooms again, that doesn't make you grow. It just makes things weird.
Well, growing is kind of weird if you're not supposed to grow.
Yeah, Jake, that's just kind of, in-world mechanics.
And he can jump way higher than is normal for a dude.
Okay, yeah, it's a video game.
It's not. Yeah, it's not supposed to be realistic. To the
Right.
game.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man.
Are you on mushrooms now, Jake?
No. I mean, I have a mushroom pizza here, but they normally don't put tainted ones on there.
The tainted mushroom. Sounds like a great pizza joint.
Yeah, it actually does.
So, like, and there's, like, these plants in the tubes. Now, get this, okay? Like, there's a plant in a tube, and it goes back down the tube, and then you get on the tube and go down the tube. Where'd the plant go?
To the lower part of the tube, Jake.
But you fall out of the bottom of the tube. You should have passed the plant on the way.
You might have passed through the plant because the tube, when it's in the tube, its mouth has to be open, so you can pass safely through its gullet. Did you ever think of that, Jake?
Pass through the gullet?
Yeah, it's like a soft water slide.
This game is so trippy.
Well, I mean, you are eating mushrooms in the game,
That's true.
so maybe you should play the game with more of an open mind.
Are you telling me to play Super Mario Bros. 3 with drugs?
No, we would never condone drug
that-
use. No, drugs are bad. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was. I think Steven's having a little fun with you instead of.
Yeah, we're poking fun at you.
Instead of hanging up.
We're giving you a chance.
Okay, so
Take it as a jewel.
why is it that these little toad creatures are also incompetent?
They're not incompetent. They're just scared.
You're just seeing them from a certain perspective, dude.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's just a perspective thing.
They might be, they've got to go home. They've got to cook dinner.
They work in the mill and they get their heads smushed.
Yeah.
In the
Don't
mill.
be so hard on them.
It's sad.
Yeah. Have some compassion, dude. So, when's the first time?
Also-
Okay.
Also, do the game makers know that raccoons don't fly?
Is there a raccoon in the game, or is it that Mario is possessed by raccoon abilities?
But those aren't actual. Okay, now I'm kind of siding with Jake. That's not. If you get, if you get raccoon abilities, that would be like the ability to crawl into sewers and eat trash.
or pop out of trash cans. One time I threw some trash away with a raccoon inside. I didn't know a raccoon was in there, and I opened the trash can, and a raccoon popped out on me. I thought it was flying.
Dude, that's probably where they got the idea.
That's exactly what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah.
It might have been that the developers recalled sometime that they had to go out late at night. They were scared to throw some trash away. They knew there might be something in the trash can, so they timidly opened the trash can, and voila, a raccoon pops out in their face.
Right.
And it looked like it was flying.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, what about when you, like, eat this plant and then you can throw fire?
That actually can happen.
Yeah. It's a habanero plant.
Oh, cool.
Tex-Mex.
So. Does that cover everything?
Are we good, Jake? Do we have to hang up on you?
Well, what about the airship?
Okay. No, we're
Drum,
not.
prepare for hanging up
Yeah, all right,
sequence.
We're gonna pop him now.
Are we?
Yeah, we're popping him.
Is he gone?
Yeah.
Jake? Goodbye.
Hello?
Wait.
Okay. Why do I always mess up hanging up on Jake?
Just hang up on him.
Okay. Done.
Goodbye, Jake. So, Drum, I want you to create a subroutine for Jake. It's called No Jake. And you know what to do.
Affirmative.
Thank you.
What is he gonna do?
He's going to find where Jake lives
Send Jake mushroom pizza.
and send him mushroom pizza from the tainted mushroom.
Can you put
Send
in a subroutine for me?
You want some tainted mushroom pizza?
Well,
That actually sounds really good. Dude, I'm getting really hungry for tainted mushroom pizza. It sounds like the most exciting pizza that could ever be ordered by man.
Gosh. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess the main point that I wanted to convey in this show was that a lot of times our perception of things really does kind of cloud the way we think about them. And that includes people, and it also includes games. And that really is where the nostalgia factor comes in. We were talking earlier, why is it that I like this Fester's Quest game? At this point, I think about that song because of nostalgia. There's no objective reason to actually like the game, but it's something I spend a lot of time on. But that can be a good thing or a bad thing. People need to, like stuff like Fester's Quest. I don't know why. I got halfway through that sentence and I realized it's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
Well, but it sounded good.
Can I just go back? I sounded like when I said that I only play games that are good. I remember.
You want to reiterate that?
Well, yeah.
My taste is perfect.
I utilized, I was pretty religious about only purchasing games that, had good reviews. I didn't purchase that many. I didn't have a lot of money as a young person, but, there was a game that I bought that, had great reviews, and I looked it up just now, and it still has good reviews, but I remember playing it, and to tie into what we were talking about, perception, is I got the game. It was called Sacrifice. I think it was 2000. And, it was
$2,000?
No, it was from the year 2000.
Oh, the year 2000. Right. Okay.
I was a youngster in those years. A young adult. And I remember getting the game because it had like a 9.5 or 9, it was some really high ranking on PC Gamer. Got the game. It was fun, but this was after I had been playing StarCraft, something which was, and we've already talked about StarCraft, so I won't go into that. I love this game dearly, StarCraft. But, when you play,
fall asleep.
No, I'm going to stay away from StarCraft. My point is that
StarCraft.
You're making fun of me.
StarCraft. I'm not making fun of you.
StarCraft. Tassadar, Zeratul, and Phoenix.
Let's talk about StarCraft today.
Queen of Blades, Gem Raider. Anyway, I got this game Sacrifice thinking like somehow it would be as good as StarCraft. Turned out the gameplay.
That's not possible. Nothing's good as StarCraft.
Well, actually, you took the words right out of my mouth. The game was nothing like StarCraft. It was a real-time strategy game, but you had to capture souls and convert them you had to convert souls to create your own units, and it was just really weird. It was nothing like StarCraft. It was frustrating, and there were some cool special abilities that your spellcaster could do because you were a spellcaster that created units. But I remember playing it for a while because it had such a good rating, and then realizing like this isn't anything like StarCraft, and I'm going to go back to playing StarCraft. And this is exactly what I did. So basically, objectively, it was a good game, but in practicality for a StarCraft player, it was a horrible game. And I quickly ditched it after trying to find some kind of value in the game and went promptly back to StarCraft, where I was at home and could actually
start a drinking game. Every time you mention
anytime we mention StarCraft, the listener has to take a shot.
Drum, can you write a subroutine that limits the number of times someone can say StarCraft in an episode, before getting like muted out or something?
Negative. There is already a subroutine preventing that very thing.
Drum, you will be rewarded at the end of this episode with 10 terabytes of raw data to chew on. As bubblegum.
As bubblegum. Oh,
Drum chews terabytes as bubblegum.
Right. Well, we are out of time. We
just started this. All right.
We're legitimately out of time. It's not just because you keep saying StarCraft.
We just started talking about StarCraft. We've got like another 2 hours to go talking about StarCraft.
Oh, goodness.
We have to do a second StarCraft episode.
So as a reminder, we are changing the way that we are setting up our show notes page. That if you go to Techno Funk Boy, in this case, this is episode 7, go to technofunkboy.com/7. just the number 7, and that's it.
The perfect
You
number.
will find the notes for today. You will find links to all the fun stuff we talk about. We'll have some pictures, some just ways to get a hold of us, and you are also able there to join our mail list if you have not done so already. Also, as a reminder, joining our email list will allow you to download the song we debuted a couple of weeks ago, Roots Digital, for free. It will also put you in line to get all of our future freebies. It just put you in direct contact with those, and so you won't have to be listening for links and all that. We'll deliver all those straight to your inbox. But otherwise, we thank you so much for joining us today, and we will catch you next week.
The Retro Zoo Super Show is brought to you by the Techno Funk Boy. Follow us on Twitter at Techno Funk Boy, on Facebook at the Techno Funk Boy, and sign up for our email list at technofunkboy.com. Also look for us on Spotify, iTunes, and Amazon for music. If you are so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast catcher. If you are not so inclined, you are obviously some sort of villain trying to conquer the world. Unowned music and gameplay clips are used for educational and critical purposes. Thank you for listening, keep gaming, and once you have responsibilities that need to be done over time, then you can game later.